Did you know there's a kind of fairy mushroom and a kind of mushroom you don't want to step in between? If you see a circle of mushrooms, don't step in it.
Okay.
Else you'll dance until you drop.
Oh, dance until you drop?
Yes.
Interesting. Wow, look at that. Hey? What a grayling. Look at that fin. Really? Hello and welcome to my channel here on YouTube. My name is Brittany and I am a crafter of many things. A lot of knitting and spinning of yarn. I've been doing a lot of painting recently and sewing. I'm also a yarn dyer here in Whitehorse, Yukon, where I live with my husband John and our 2 kids, Calvin and Sybil. The kids are 7 and 5, so they're off at school and learning really well, and my husband is a house builder just here in the area that we live, and so it's just definitely reached the end, or yeah, the very end of our autumn or fall season. The leaves are falling, the winds are gusting, and we are prepared for all of the snow to fall. So cold days are ahead of us, and I have been wearing my woolly things for about a month or so now. So we had a really warm summer, and we're anticipating cold winters as per usual. Lots of snow, and right now is a great time to film because I've got overcast lighting, and I'm sitting in my living room, which is not somewhere I often sit. I don't particularly like the background, but we will go with it because it's where all of the knitted things have sort of accumulated. And so yeah, I hope you can settle in and get cozy with me. I'm gonna drink some black coffee, and I'll tell you a little bit what I'm wearing and what things I have finished knitting, as well as some things that I'm working on. And yeah, I will not keep you too long, I promise. So I also wanted to make a note that and say it here on the podcast while I'm here. I'm going to input all of the information about my projects on my Ravelry page so that you can go and look them up. That might be easier for you guys to check out things about the projects, especially links to patterns and such. So yeah, so without further ado, yes, my first finished object that I'd like to share with you is a Tessellated Vest by Andrea Mowry. This was originally designed in Spin Cycle yarns. What else? Probably Farmer's Daughter fibers. She uses those yarn providers quite often. And I knit the size, I believe 4. I'll put all that information in the Ravelry note. And there's that dang coffee maker again. I always forget to turn off. Okay. I did not use a spin cycle yarn in mine. I did use my Handspun yarn, which is this dark gray. It's Torfall. It's a fleece that I processed myself. And then I'll just hold it still for a sec. And then the sort of sagey green is called Frigid. That's my hand-dyed Sori alpaca yarn. And then the multicolored is my hand-dyed Blueface Leicester 2-ply fingering weight yarn. And it is called Playdate. Heidi. Kitty kitty. Hello. You guys don't often see Heidi on the podcast. She's my little kitty. Hello. She would like to sit on my lap. Hello. She's gonna get cozy. You want to sit here? Get cozy. Maybe, maybe not. All right. I am magically always able to get gauged with Andrea's patterns with the recommended needle, and usually with any yarn. So I did not use a single sport weight yarn in this vest, and turned out great. I love the fabric. I love the coziness of this vest. I have now knitted 3 vests, 2 by the Bluebird box, and this one. And I love vests. I love being able to pair it with something over top, whether that's just like a cotton cardigan and then just like underneath is nice and warm. I quite like that. Hey you, be careful with those. What a cute picture here. I'm loving all the colors in this frame right now. Okay, so I don't think there's really all that much I want to say about this. I did not make any modifications, but I'm extremely happy with the way that this came out. I wore it at Knit City was part of my outfit as I was vending there. Yes, I love wearing it with some of the dresses that I've sewn recently, and with the gala cotton cardigan over top. So that's that. I completely forgot to skim. I skimmed over what I'm wearing. So I'm wearing a cardigan I knit, gosh, maybe 3 years ago. Not a long time ago. I made it sound like it was. It's called All of the Lights Cardigan by Joji Locatelli, and I used my hand-dyed yarn, which was a merino cashmere nylon superwash yarn that I used to dye years ago. And I'll just get up that. It's an all-over cable and lace work pattern with little baubles and texture everywhere. I did have one mistake, and it's on the back, but it's not all that noticeable. It's in this panel right here. I don't wear this all that often. I should, but it's a heavy garment. I stand on the couch. There's a pocket right here on both sides. I will say this, that Joji is incredible at the construction of this cardigan. It's knit top down. There's no piecing together, which I don't mind if it is, but this one is not pieced together at all. It's a very fun construction, and the cabling, all of this is memorizable. After so much repetition, you can get it. It's stuck in your head, and you just do it. So apart from the back where my mistake was, which is not noticeable, unless you're looking for it, I'm very pleased with this cardigan. I'm also wearing my Fri Mitts, which is a pattern by Miss Evil, and I've probably made 6 of these. I was just looking for another pair that I just recently made, and I can't find them. They're probably in my van. Anyways, that's what I'm wearing, and I had a new haircut and a trimming of the bangs, and my hair used to be very curly, but since having babies, it's lost its curl, so usually I just blow dry it out. But yeah, I'm liking my bangs. Next up is a pattern that I knit fairly often, especially when I'm trying to do like samples of colorways. It's the Stardust Hat by Carly Perrins of the Northwoods Knit Co. She's in northern British Columbia. I love this hat. It is a double brim. You work the color work in part of the brim, and as you work your way up through the pattern, you're slowly increasing the volume of the secondary color over the first, and you finish with just this color. So I used my BFL 3-ply DK Sport DK yarn, and then I used Surrey Alpaca held double. You can use a mohair, but you should probably hold it triple, which I've done because I've knit it before, and you definitely need it triple. And then the pom-pom comes from my friend Liz of Treeline Knits, and I get her to do lots of pom-poms for me. So actually this one might have been one that I put together. Let me see. Yes, this is the one that she taught me how to make. And inside I have a little leather button holding the elastics from pulling on the yarn. And this button comes from Purl and Hank. She tries her darndest to not waste any leather when she works with her leather. Purl and Hank is a wonderful friend, and she's out in Manitoba, and she makes wonderful leather things like toolkits and shawl belts, bags, buttons, my Mother Hubbard outfit that I love, and she just is launching, I think pretty soon here, her storefront. So if you're in the Manitoba area, please go check out Purl and Hank. Use the recommended needles. I'll pop all that information into the Ravelry thread. I don't know about you, but I love on camera being able to see what you didn't see in person. This pooling here, I did not see that in person. until online, and I love that. It actually adds a really fun dimension, kind of like Northern Lights, to my Stardust hat. Oh, it makes me happy. Okay, moving on. I'm gonna show you a shawl that actually I did not knit, but it's in my yarn, and it was a sample for people to see at Knit City. This is the Coalescent Shawl by Kzip Knitd. I asked them if they could design a shawl using 3 of my yarns that were different weights and different fibers. This gray is my low mileage wool, which is Braeburn. The red, or the burgundy, is Love Story on Surrey alpaca. So we do lots of garter and lace and swapping in between Braeburn and that Surrey alpaca, and then we use my BFL 2-ply in the colorway ptarmigan with these fun stitch patterns. More lace, and continuing through garter. At no point is there stockinette. There's a linen stitch, which you would feel like you're doing stockinette. So the classic Kzip Knitd girls, adding garter and lots of stitch patterns to keep you engaged and fascinated with the construction. And you get these eyelet striping, lacework, and finish with this really beautiful ribbing. So it's an asymmetrical shawl, but it's very shallow, so it wears like a crescent shaped shawl. I love this thing so much. I always love a wrap as well, because these things you can just wrap around and get so cozy. Oh dear, I'm not even grabbing things correctly. Okay, so you can wrap it around like a crescent shawl, or like, sorry, wrap it around like a scarf and then tuck these in. So the Coalescent Shawl is now one of my faves because it incorporates all my favorite things: coziness and warmth and my low mileage wool and hair sticking out. Whatever. Okay, so I'm not always a fan of stripes, but when it's like this, I love it. So I'm very pleased, and to know that others are going to knit this shawl makes my heart sing. This exact kit I've sold out of, but you can make your own with any yarn in my shop or in your stash. So yeah, the Coalescent Shawl. That word means, I forget the exact definition, but it basically means a merging of multiple things to create one whole thing. And so I wanted them, that's why I asked them to use the 3 different yarns, so that we could showcase some of my exceptional hard work. I think it's important that we recognize our hard work and call it exceptional. So if you are a maker, call your work exceptional because you're doing the hard work. Coalescent Shawl by Kzip Knitd in Braeburn, ptarmigan, and Love Story. The second most recent finished object is one that my friend Leanne from the Knitty Stew had knit in my yarn, and I needed one as well. It is the Ships and Birds cowl. We just recently had a knitting retreat all together. Leanne, Tracy, Loretta, Kelsey, and myself. Was that it? There's 5 of us. We all went to my family cabin that I often talk about, and we spent the weekend just knitting, and I got to feed them all because I love to feed people and I love to make delicious foods. So I fed them some of our wild game that we've hunted, just delicious foods, and we sat around candlelight. We went for walks, and anyways, it was a wonderful time. Thank you, ladies, for joining me here. You made my world. Okay, this is Mick, and Mick is a very special sheep that is no longer in the flock of Crocus Country Shepherdess because he sadly passed away. But he grew wonderful wool, and the Ships and Birds cowl here is designed by Caitlin Hunter, and it's knit top down. So you start back and forth and then join in the round. And this lace work, I'm going to make a note here if you decide to follow this pattern. I've only ever seen this written in patterns probably once or twice in my life, but when you are working back and forth with lace, typically you knit your knits and you purl your purls. So in this pattern, that's what you're going to do. Knit your knits, purl your purls on the back when you're going back and forth. The chart, if you're looking at the chart, you might get confused, and if you refer to the written, there is some elements that I think you need to have some previous knitting experience to be able to assume, if that makes sense. So yeah, after a few rounds of the lace work, going from top down, you really get a sense of how this is supposed to be looking. It's got a nice big old tassel. I did 70 wraps around a piece of cardboard, and I'm wearing it like Leanne had hers, just folded down a little bit so it can stand up a bit on my neck. I immediately after knitting this, I knit this on the weekend that we were there. I just flew through it because I was having so much fun and I just loved it so much. Immediately after casting off, without the tassel, I didn't have the tassel made yet, I submerged it in hot water. I just laid it on top of the hot water that had been heating up on the wood stove and let it just sink down for about a half an hour. And that helped Mick floof right up. I wrung it out in a towel, laid it flat to dry, and by morning it was mostly dry. And then when I got home, I ended up having to steam block it. That's something that Leanne had mentioned she did. So I just took a towel and put the whole cowl underneath, like a few layers of the towel, and grabbed my iron and went over top with steam and just steamed the heck out of it so that it would lay flat, because it was tending to fold up this way. Now if I have it worn a certain way, then that can still happen, but otherwise pull it back just the right amount and it falls just perfectly, and the tassel just gets really floofy. So yeah, Mick was about a sport weight yarn, and he was perfect for this pattern. I did have to go up a needle size, and I'll put that information in my Ravelry page so you can check it out. Went up a needle size and went up a needle size on the cast off. So there's Mick. I might just keep him on because he's kind of giving me cozy vibes. All right, okay, so my last finished object for you guys today is the Rockweed Hat, or beanie, sorry, by Susanna Winter. I forget her Instagram handle, but I'll make sure that's below. Just write a note here, IG handle. So I used some low mileage wool, which was actually not my it's low mileage wool, but it was Sierra's first mill run that she had done at Longway Homestead, and so this is actually Kylo's wool, a very thin yarn, and very drapey, which I thought would be perfect for holding together with Not Enough Houseplants, which is a mohair that I dye. I love this green so much. Dang. Not Enough Houseplants. So good. Can you tell I love it? Anyways, those are the two yarns I held together. And the Rockweed, I'll show you the hat, I guess, is, you know, ribbed hat, but with the mohair, this lace work, it's not too cold of a hat for the winter, and I just love it. It was really quick to knit because you're doing lace, so your rows are growing quickly. It has a bit of this, because of these garter rows, it helps the fabric kind of get more three-dimensional. And so, I don't know if you can see it, but like here are these little peaks that stick out. So before blocking, they stick out quite a bit, and the hat just felt a bit too short. So I blocked it and just pulled down, just pulled, and then laid it flat. I like pulled like this and laid it flat to dry. And yeah, so it is a lacework hat. I didn't want the fabric to be too dark, which is why I chose the gray low mileage, the light gray. So I don't think it's from the impression I get from the designer, I didn't see that it was so much about showcasing an amazing lace stitch pattern as much as it was for like the look of the hat, the volume, and the lightness. So because this is very lightweight, but it's also very warm because you get the mohair. So yeah, and it's just a little bit of slouching, just a little bit, not much. So I like the beanie shape on my head. It's not too tight. I don't like really tight beanie shapes, and I'll show you guys the crown. A nice decrease. Actually, I really love the decreases that you still incorporate some of the lace work, or the decreasing. You still incorporate parts of this stitch pattern here, which I know is probably hard to see right now, but highly recommend. Very well written pattern, and it's charted, so if you like charts, then you can knit this hat up in about a day on a weekend. So a weekend hat. All right, so thanks for hanging out with me with my finished objects. I have just a few works in progress that I'd love to share with you. And I'll show a few acquisitions because I wanted to share about a local yarn store here that I don't know if you can buy online, but if you're in Whitehorse, you might want to know that she's here. Okay, so for my whips, I'll show my small project first that I'm using some leftovers from my tessellated pullover. So I'm making mittens with the exact same yarns, so I'll show you them because I didn't get to show you them in person. So Torfall is this black one. This one's called Playdate. It is multicolored. And then this one's Frigid. So just a reminder how these, actually I can just show you the pattern. So this is how it's working out. I'm kind of doing like a mock version of the tessellated without the slip stitches. So I'm just doing color work. So my hands are very small. I always end up having to knit about a child's size mitten to fit my hand because my hands are so small. But I haven't worked on these in a little bit, but this is just the first one. I'm using my DPNs by, I guess, Knit Picks, I think, and just a self-drafted pattern. It's pretty easy to do a gusset. And then Torfall, yeah, is in the cuff and all the way through, and so I'm just doing a 2-row 1x1 stranded color work, and then the next row I swap, still holding like Torfall is the main color the whole way through, but then I'm swapping, so I'm just kind of striping, I guess, but doing 2 rows. Made it a bit fun to figure out with the gusset here and having have that stitch pattern still look, and I think look cohesive, and I think I did a good job. I don't know if I can show that off. I'll just take it off. How about that? So I feel like I did a good job at making it look cohesive. So yeah, a little bit further, and I haven't decided how I want to decrease the mitts because I find like the like the decreasing where you have your two marker stitches on the outsides. I find those just end up being just don't fit my hand right. So I'm not sure about a rounded finish. I don't know. If you have any suggestions, maybe pop them below. I'd love to know. Usually I do that, the decreases on the side here and just make like that, I don't know, that shape. But I would be interested in doing something else. Man, I have small hands, hey? Seriously. Just tiny. These look like little children's mitts. My hands they're small. So that's just a self-drafted mitten I'll have done for winter. And I get to use some more of Torfel. He's so fuzzy. Alright. I have one more whip that I will show you, and the other one I'll just talk about. So the other whip you've seen before, but I haven't worked on it in a long time. And this week I decided I need to finish this thing because I want to wear it. And that is the Moonlight Meadow pullover by Melody Hoffman. And I think the last time I talked about this, I said I was just gonna go with it and do the whole all over color work. And the more I thought about it, I was just like, I don't think I'm gonna like the way the fabric is gonna get worn out, I think, because of what I've used to knit this. And I just don't think, I don't know yet if I'm an all over color work person. We'll see. So Moonlight Meadow, I tried it on last night because I've got the body finished. Hello. The body finished, and I have one sleeve finished. I need to figure out how to make a circular yoke fit my body better, because what ends up happening is I'm not largely chested. I'm a 38C bust. My back doesn't protrude or anything. I'm just fairly like, I'm wide, but yeah. So these circular yokes end up being really large in the bust and lots of fabric at the back. And I don't mind oversized, and this isn't blocked, so maybe blocking is going to make this fit nicer. But I love this pattern. I love it on me, and the colors look so nice, and I just feel like I deserve to be able to wear it. So I stopped the color work, so you can see just before, actually, I joined in the round, sorry, I split for sleeves and carried on and finished the color work after splitting for sleeves. So you can see how many repeats I've done. I believe I did the cast on that was recommended. If not, if usually the tubular cast ons I don't really enjoy, I'd rather just like a nice, what did I do? I think I just did a regular long tail cast on. And I'm using Kzip Knitd, colorway I've had in my stash for a little while. It's called Morker, I think, Morker, M-O-R-K-E-R with some accents on the O. It's a brown, but in different lights it looks purple, but I don't know if you can see that. It's actually full of a lot of colors. Here's a ball to show you. You can see those colors. It's just wildly fun. The lighting's making it have a more pink tone. So keep an eye on the time. Oh, my husband just got home. Anyways, that's the yarn I'm using for the main color, and the other one is Morgan, which is the peach color, and then the other color is Vilgot, which is a light pink. That's John. Coming home from lunch. I obviously didn't do this podcast fast enough. So yeah, I have just this sleeve left to knit. I think I have about a few inches to finish, and then just do the cuff and weave in my ends, block it, and see how I like it after it's all done. But otherwise, I'm happy with the modifications I've done. I did actually do some decreases up in the armpits because I felt like the arms were just too bulky there, so I probably didn't do the, did the decreases there? No, I did the decreases in the body. So I actually, it's got a bit of a, it dips down, but I wanted there to be a bit of like waist shaping because my waist is about here, so I did some waist shaping. There you go. That's the Moonlight Meadow pullover that I hope to have finished tonight or tomorrow. I am participating in the West Knits MKAL. I sped through that first clue very quickly, and by the time posts had gotten out about what the first clue was resembling towards what people saw in the first clue, it was too late. I'd already finished. So I'm not going to show that because out of respect for Stephen, he asked that if we did do that clue to not share it. So I don't know when I will share it and if I'm going to do any modifications to the inner square just so that I don't cause people to be hurt. So my colors I can show you. Oh, look, I found the Fri Mitts. I'm using 4 of my hand-dyed colorways, which I can show you because they're not even attached to the project. They are very fun and bright colors. This is Aqua, Frigid, Banshee of Paradise, and Blue Teal.
Sorry, I'm making noise. Being a terrible husband.
I'm almost done. So those are my colors, and they're really fun. I can just show you, I can show you that. There you go. That's what you get. And so the next clue just launched, so I'll probably pick up my stitches and start that today too. And then just finally, I did some hand spinning of some fiber that I had processed. So this is fiber which I scoured myself, hand dyed, and then sent off to a mill to get processed into roving. So this is these are my samples. The colors do shift throughout the roving, so you can kind of get a spin cycle kind of effect, I think. Yeah, they are very fun and bright, and I know people will love them. I had so much fun spinning them, and all I can think of with these bright colors these days is pairing it with neutrals to get something that kind of suits more my style. So I love that. I love it a lot. Yeah, I am hoping it'll get a little bit more quiet around here just to finish off, but I wanted to share just a few things that, because they're in my reach, of some things that my friends gifted when we were at Camp Braeburn, or our family cabin at Braeburn. And Tracy from Oliver Rain Knits made all of us these beautiful little project bags called Camp Braeburn 2023. And so if there's a 2023, then I think we're planning a 2024. And it's just got my my hat leftovers in there. The inside has these constellations, and we had all hoped that the sky would clear and that we would see the northern lights, but it rained the whole weekend, and that was fun. Loretta and I left the girls to canoe across the lake, and she and I walked around in our wellies. All we could hear was the other ladies screaming, and then when they finally got across in the boat, we learned that Kelsey had fallen out of the boat and her backpack had fallen out of the boat, and Tracy was facing the wrong way in the boat, and the other so one was paddling forward and one was paddling backwards. Oh, it was funny. Anyways, and Kelsey made these cute little DPN holders, and she drummeled in mountains and birds and trees and wrote CB for Camp Braeburn. She also gifted us some jams and jellies from the Okanagan? Yeah, the Okanagan. And then Loretta came with some yummy popcorn, which I don't have, but she also, I don't know if it's in this little bag here, she brought us little chapsticks. Oh yes, from Aroma Borealis. And what else? Yeah, Loretta brought some Klondike kettle corn, and then Leanne was gifting us some little lavender sachets that she made for our lawn, for our closets, some spices for cooking with, and some keto treats, which were really yummy. So yeah, I might be leaving out some things, but I contributed all the food and I made all of the sourdough things. So it was a wonderful weekend, and it was quaint and quiet, and we read a daily blessing every day, which, since I have the book, maybe I should read you a daily blessing. It comes from this book, Blessings, Prayers and Declarations for a Heartful Life, by Julia Cameron. Leanne brought this to the cabin, and she read from it. So maybe I'll read from this page. This one looks good. Or was there? There's also a. Is it page 73? How about this one? On page 71. Do not weep. Do not wax indignant. Understand. Baruch Spinoza. Kindness is my nature and my gift. My heart is a deep lake of loving kindness. I count myself fortunate to hold tenderness within my soul. I forgive myself my fears, frailties, and failures. I am compassionate towards myself in times of turbulence and change. I remind myself that I am a gentle soul and that I have need of cherishing. I treat myself as I wish others would treat me. I treat others as they wish to be treated. I allow myself in times of difficult and demanding strife that I am loved and lovable, and I am worthy and respected. I do not allow temporary anxiety to distort my view of the whole. I gently seek the blessings in all difficulty, while I am compassionate to myself for my lingering doubts and fears. I remind myself that my life is in the care of God and that it is unfolding with beauty and harmony. So, yeah, the daily blessings. So we enjoyed that together, and a walk to the Beaver Lodge, and some of us walked on the Beaver Dam. But for the most part, we just really enjoyed each other's company, knitting, telling stories unashamedly, and just embracing each other for who we are. It was wonderful. So I did say I wanted to mention something about a local yarn store that I don't think I've mentioned before, but I often pop in there. Usually when I try to get there, she's closed. But it's called Match Girl Knitting Shop, and this lovely woman, and she's Indigenous, I forget her name, runs this little shop, and she houses a lot of wonderful Canadian yarns. This one here is a alpaca sock yarn, so the brand is called Alpaca Naturally. Feel the difference. Cavalier Alpaca Sock Yarn, one of the world's softest, warmest, best wicking natural fibers. So it has 60% alpaca, 20% arambule, and 20% nylon. 380 meters per 100 grams, and this is the colorway Lapis. It's like a really beautiful blue. This is so soft, so lovely. I also grabbed some of this to go with one of my future plans. I have some Kzip yarn that I've been wanting to work with, and this one I think would add some really nice light striping. Or I might do like a cowl that's basically a tube that you sew together, and then it's got lace work on the outside but stocking out on the inside. I don't know. And so this is This contains 33% bison, 33% merino, and 33% silk. Product of Canada. Now, I don't know who designs this yarn. I could have asked, but I forgot to. So, it's really lovely. It might be, I don't think it's Kzip ink or anything because it's bison, but yeah, if I find out, I'll put the information down below. The other thing was these measuring tapes. They're surrounded by just, I guess, a felt, and they're hand stitched, and the measuring tape, because who doesn't need a measuring tape? It says German quality on the tag. So, Match Girl Knitting Shop. I will put this right here for you. So they're here in Whitehorse. She does have a website. You can find out some information about them. I'll link that below. Yeah, otherwise, I'm glad I could finally get on here and catch up with you all and what I've been up to in knitting. I'm looking forward to more fibery goodness and the next batch of low mileage wool that should be here soon. And yeah, as a family, I guess we're just waiting for the snow to fall, and John's very, very thrilled that he's gotten all of the hard, crazy work done to build a house on top of a firm foundation. Anyways, yeah, it's almost Halloween. We just had Thanksgiving. We had family over. It was fantastic. And yeah, I think that's really it. I don't know what else to talk about apart from I was at Knit City with John and it went amazing. It was so nice to see everyone there and meet new faces, connect with new people in yarn shops. If you're looking for some of my wool, you can now find some at Wool and Waves in Victoria, I believe she is. Yeah, Wool and Waves is now carrying my yak fluff, which I didn't mention was in that hat I knit. Where'd it go? The Stardust Hat. I don't know where it went. The Stardust Hat had yak fluff in it. And she's also got the BFL Massam, which is a DK weight yarn. So yeah, that's where I'm gonna leave you guys. I hope you have a wonderful week and happy crafting. Let me know what you're working on and if I've inspired you to cast on anything that I've just finished knitting. I hope you enjoy it, and if you have questions or you need some help, please do reach out, and we'll catch up with you later. Bye.
Bye.